Commander Alan Wright stood at the viewport of the USS Horizon, Earth's first faster-than-light vessel. The stars blurred outside as the experimental engine hummed beneath his feet. This was supposed to be a simple test jump, just beyond Mars and back. Something had gone very wrong. "Status report," he said, keeping his voice calm despite the tension in the bridge. Lieutenant Jack Bishop looked up from the navigation console, his face pale. "Sir, we're not in our solar system anymore. According to these readings, we're over 50 light-years from Earth." Dr. Olivia Mason approached, her dark eyes wide with a mixture of fear and excitement. "The drive overloaded. We jumped much farther than intended." She lowered her voice. "But Alan, we're in completely uncharted space." The bridge crew fell silent as they processed this information. They were the first humans to travel this far into the galaxy, but they had no way to communicate with Earth, and limited supplies. "Plot a return course," Commander Wright ordered. "We need to—" "Sir," called out the sensor operator, "I'm detecting an artificial structure ahead and something's approaching us fast." On the view screen, a sleek vessel appeared, unlike anything humans had designed. It was smooth, almost organic in appearance, with no visible engines or weapons. It moved with impossible grace, coming alongside the horizon within minutes. "Are they hostile?" Wright asked. Bishop shook his head. "No weapon signatures that I can detect. They're hailing us?" Wright straightened his uniform. "Put it through." The screen flickered, revealing a humanoid figure with pale blue skin, large eyes, and no visible hair. When it spoke, the words were translated by some unknown means. "Greetings, unknown. Vessel, I am Ambassador Zirtal of the Zelnar Dominion. You have entered Galactic Coalition space. Identify yourselves." Wright stepped forward. "I am Commander Alan Wright of the Earth vessel USS Horizon. We are on a peaceful mission and arrived here by accident." The alien's large eyes blinked slowly. "Earth? This designation is unfamiliar. You are not registered in Coalition records." "We're new to interstellar travel," Wright explained. "This is our first voyage beyond our solar system." The alien seemed to consider this. "A developing species. Then, you will follow our vessel to the Coalition outpost for processing." Before Wright could respond, the transmission ended. "Sir?" Bishop looked up from his console. "What do we do?" Wright considered their options. They were lost in space with limited supplies and no way home. "We follow them carefully, full sensor scans, and record everything." The Horizon followed the alien ship through space to a massive structure, a space station that dwarfed anything humans had built. The crew stared in awe as they approached. "Look at the scale of it," Dr. Mason whispered. "This civilization must be thousands of years ahead of us." They docked inside a cavernous bay filled with vessels of varying designs. Wright selected a small team to accompany him. Dr. Mason for her scientific expertise, Lieutenant Bishop for security, and 2 other crew members. They were met by Ambassador Zirtal and several other aliens of different species. The diversity was stunning. Beings with multiple limbs, varying skin colors, and completely different body structures. "Welcome to Outpost Krell 7, said Zirtal. "You will now be introduced to the Galactic Coalition, the governing body of civilized space." The humans were led through corridors filled with technology beyond their understanding. Other aliens stopped to stare at them, some making quick movements that seemed like nervousness. They entered a large chamber where representatives of 7 different species sat in a semicircle. Zirtal introduced them as the local council representatives of the coalition members. A tall, thin alien with green skin spoke first. "We have reviewed your vessel's specifications. Your technology is primitive, but your achievement of faster-than-light travel is noteworthy for such a young species." Wright felt a flash of pride mixed with irritation at the condescending tone. Another council member, a short, stocky being with 4 arms, leaned forward. "What are your species' primary evolutionary traits?" Dr. Mason stepped forward. "Humans, evolved as persistence hunters on a savanna environment. We have exceptional endurance, temperature regulation through sweating, and advanced problem-solving abilities." The council members exchanged glances that Wright couldn't interpret. "Hunters?" asked another. You evolved as predators? Yes, Mason replied, though we've been agricultural for thousands of years. A subtle tension filled the room. Wright noticed several council members shift in their seats. Interesting, said Ziertal, though his tone suggested discomfort. The Coalition will offer Earth-protected status, as we do for all developing worlds. You will be provided with limited technological assistance and knowledge of galactic affairs. Wright sensed an opportunity. We appreciate your offer. Earth has many resources that might be valuable to trade. The negotiations continued for hours. By the end, Wright had secured a deal. The Coalition would provide the knowledge to return home and limited technological assistance. In exchange, Earth would provide rare minerals and biological samples. However, humans would be restricted to their solar system except for supervised expeditions. As they returned to their ship, Dr. Mason pulled Wright aside. Did you notice their reactions when I mentioned we were predators? Wright nodded. They seemed uncomfortable. It's more than that, Mason said quietly. I've been watching their biological responses. Pupil dilation, skin coloration changes, posture shifts. These aren't just diplomatic reactions, Alan, they're fear responses. Wright frowned. Why would advanced species fear us? We're centuries behind them technologically. I've been speaking with one of their biological scientists, Mason explained. Most Coalition species evolved as prey animals or from non-predatory ancestors. They're communal, cooperative, but they lack something we take for granted. Which is? The predatory instinct, the drive to hunt, to pursue, to overcome through persistence and force if necessary. Mason's eyes gleamed with realization. They're not just cautious about us as newcomers, they're terrified of what we might become. Wright looked back at the massive station, the advanced ships, the technology beyond human understanding. They shouldn't be worried. We have a lot to learn from them. Mason shook her head. That's exactly what worries them. Our capacity to learn, to adapt. Combined with our predatory heritage, they see us as wolves among sheep. As they boarded the horizon with the knowledge to return home, Wright felt the weight of this insight. Humanity had just taken its first step into a complex galactic community, one that already feared what humans might become. Set course for Earth, he ordered. We have a lot to report. 15 years had passed since first contact. Earth had changed dramatically. Cities now featured alien technology alongside human architecture. The night sky was dotted with orbital stations, and shuttles flew between Earth and its new colonies. On the Moon and Mars, Director Samantha Cole walked through the headquarters of the Human Intelligence Agency, an organization that didn't officially exist. Her office overlooked Washington, D.C., where the Coalition Embassy stood, a gleaming tower of alien design. Agent Harris is here to see you, her assistant said through the intercom. Daniel Harris entered her office. He looked tired but alert, like a man who hadn't slept much but couldn't afford to miss anything. Report, Director Cole said. The Coalition representatives still think I'm just a security liaison, Harris said, sitting down. But I've gained access to their internal communications network. Cole nodded. This was the breakthrough they had been waiting for. And? They're afraid of us, Director. More than we realized. Harris placed a datapad on her desk. They have protocols specifically designed for dealing with what they call predator species. We're only the third they've encountered in their history. Cole swiped through the files on the pad. What happened to the others? One was contained, restricted, to 3 planets with limited technology. The other, Harris paused. The files suggest they were subjected to genetic modification without their knowledge, made more docile. Cole's eyes narrowed. They would try that with us? Some factions are discussing it, but most think we're too widespread now. They're focusing on limiting our expansion instead. Cole walked to the window, looking at the embassy in the distance. The Coalition had kept their promise to share technology, but always the simplified version, always with restrictions. Humans had adapted it, improved it where they could, but they remained far behind the advanced species. "What else have you learned about them?" she asked. "Their biology is fascinating," Harris said. "Most evolved as herd or flock species. They're naturally cooperative within their groups, but struggle with the concept of controlled aggression. They find our history of warfare horrifying, but also can't comprehend how we made peace with ourselves. Their weakness is our strength," Cole mused. "It's more than that," Harris continued. "They have incredible endurance compared to us. A simple diplomatic dinner exhausts them. Ambassador Nelson has been using this, scheduling marathon negotiation sessions. The aliens agree to better terms just to end meetings." Cole smiled. Greg. Nelson had been her suggestion for Earth's diplomatic corps. A former poker player with a background in psychology, he understood leverage. "And what about their technology?" she asked. "They're still keeping the best stuff from us," Harris said. "But I've made a contact, a Tellurian merchant named Xarvol. He seems to admire humans. Says we remind him of characters from their ancient myths. Can we trust him?" "As much as we can trust any alien," Harris replied. "He's provided technical specifications for their ships that go beyond what they've officially shared." Cole returned to her desk and pulled up a classified report. "Our engineers have been reverse engineering their tech. Without the theoretical foundations, it's slow work, but we're making progress. The new defense satellites incorporate some of our improvements. The coalition doesn't know? We've kept our advances quiet," Cole said. "The official Earth government maintains the appearance of a grateful developing species." Harris nodded. "The coalition believes it too. Their arrogance blinds them. They think because their technology is more advanced, their thinking must be as well." A notification flashed on Cole's screen. "The president is meeting with the coalition high representative today. They're discussing the expansion restrictions again. Coalition rules allowed humans to settle only 5-star systems, despite Earth's growing population. Their reason was always the same. Humans needed time to mature as a species before spreading further into the galaxy." "There's something else," Harris said hesitantly. "I've found references to Earth in their historical database, from before first contact." Cole looked up sharply. "What?" "They said they'd never encountered humans before. They hadn't. Not directly. But long-range probes had observed Earth for centuries. They classified humans as a potentially dangerous species over 300 years ago." Cole processed this information. "So first contact wasn't an accident." "I don't think the Horizon's jump drive malfunction was an accident either," Harris said. "I think they were testing us, seeing how we'd react to them." "All this time they've been studying us," Cole said, "while letting us believe we were just lucky explorers. There's an advantage in that," Harris pointed out. "They think they know us, but they only see what we show them." Cole walked to a secure cabinet and unlocked it. Inside was a star chart showing human expansion, not just the 5 authorized systems, but dozens of secret outposts established beyond coalition monitoring. "We're playing their game now," she said. "Slowly, carefully, we're building our strength. The coalition restricts our official colonies, so we build unofficial ones. They limit our technology, so we develop our own." Harris studied the chart. "They'll discover these eventually. By then it will be too late for them to stop us," Cole said. "Humanity spent thousands of years competing with itself. We've learned patience, strategy, and when to show our hand." In orbit above Earth, a coalition inspection team toured the new human defense platform. The alien officials noted its crude but functional design, missing the sophisticated systems hidden beneath mundane exteriors. In a distant star system not on any coalition map, human ships unloaded colonists and equipment on a habitable world. They worked quickly, building shelters underground where orbital scans couldn't detect them. In research labs across Earth, scientists studied alien biology, searching for weaknesses while developing countermeasures against potential bioweapons. In the coalition embassy, Ambassador Nelson engaged the alien representatives in another exhausting negotiation session, watching as their attention wavered while his remained sharp. Director Cole reviewed the reports coming in from all these operations. Everything was proceeding according to plan. The aliens had underestimated humans from the beginning, Seeing only a young species taking its first steps into the galaxy, they didn't realize that every restriction they imposed taught humans to find creative solutions. Every piece of technology they shared was taken apart, analyzed, and improved upon. Every interaction revealed more about their weaknesses. Cole closed the secure cabinet and returned to her desk. They've underestimated us. That's their first mistake, she said quietly. And by the time they realize it, we'll be ready. 30 years after first contact, the human presence in space had grown significantly. 12 worlds now openly flew the Earth flag, all within the boundaries permitted by the Coalition. What the Coalition didn't know was how much humanity had changed during those decades. Admiral Lisa Murphy stood on the bridge of the EDF Defiant, the newest flagship of Earth's defense fleet. Unlike the clunky vessels of earlier years, the Defiant was sleek and powerful, incorporating both adapted, alien technology and unique human innovations. Status report, she said, watching as her crew prepared for the test. All systems ready, Admiral, her executive officer replied. Dr. Jackson is standing by in engineering. Put him through. The screen switched to show Dr. Paul Jackson, his lab coat slightly rumpled, eyes bright with excitement. Admiral, we're ready to test the new drive system. If it works as projected, we'll have achieved parity with Coalition mid-tier ships. And they still have no idea? Jackson shook his head. The Coalition inspectors saw exactly what we wanted them to see last month. An engine system roughly equivalent to what they gave us 10 years ago. The real advances are hidden in subsystems they never bothered to check. Murphy nodded. Proceed with the test. The Defiant moved away from Earth's orbital shipyards, heading toward the outer solar system. When they reached the test area, Jackson activated the new drive. The ship surged forward with a burst of speed that pushed everyone slightly back in, their seats despite the inertial dampeners. Success, Jackson shouted over the comm. We're exceeding projected specifications by 12%. Murphy allowed herself a small smile. Humanity had been carefully reverse engineering Coalition technology for decades, while officially maintaining the appearance of satisfactory progress. Earth's best minds had been working relentlessly to close the technological gap. 3 days later, Murphy sat in a secure conference room beneath the North American Defense Command. Director Cole, now older but still sharp as ever, led the briefing. We've received important information from Kevin Diaz, Cole said, referring to a civilian trader who operated in the shadowy edges of Coalition space. Show them what you found, Kevin. Diaz, a stocky man with weathered skin, activated a holographic display. I was making a supply run to the Proxima colony when my ship detected an unusual signal. I traced it to this. The display showed recordings of a derelict vessel unlike anything in the Coalition registry. It's old. Thousands of years by my best guess, Diaz continued. But what's interesting is what I found in its database. He pulled up alien text, translated by his ship's computer. It mentions a species called the Krith. According to this, they were renowned warriors, a scourge upon the stars. But here's the interesting part. They were predators, like us. What happened to them? Murphy asked. According to these records, they were contained by an alliance of species that sound suspiciously like an early version of the Coalition, Diaz replied. The coordinates point to a region that's now off limits to civilian traffic. Cole nodded slowly. This matches intelligence we've gathered. The Coalition has encountered predator species before and developed protocols to deal with them. We suspected we weren't the first. There's more, Diaz said. On my return journey, I encountered a Coalition patrol that seemed extremely interested in whether I'd had any contact with the derelict. When I played dumb, they let me go but followed me for 2 light years. Murphy frowned. They're hiding something, and they're getting nervous about humans, Cole added. Our intelligence suggests increased debate among Coalition leadership about the human situation. They've noticed our rapid adaptation of their technology, even if they don't know the full extent of our progress. The meeting was interrupted by an urgent communication. A Coalition patrol had fired on a human vessel near the Tau Ceti colony, claiming it had violated restricted space. Casualties? Murphy asked. 2 dead, several injured. came the reply. The ship made it back to the colony, but it's badly damaged. This is the third incident this month, Cole said grimly. They're testing us, seeing how we'll respond. Murphy's expression hardened. I recommend a proportional response. We can't appear weak, but we can't reveal our full capabilities either. The president agreed. Within hours, Admiral Murphy was leading a small fleet to Tau Ceti. When they arrived, they found 3 coalition vessels in orbit monitoring the colony. Open a channel, Murphy ordered. The alien commander appeared on screen, his large eyes blinking in what humans now recognized as nervousness. Human vessels. This sector is under coalition jurisdiction following recent incursions. This is a human colony with full coalition authorization, Murphy replied calmly. Your vessels fired on an unarmed ship, killing 2 of my people. You will withdraw immediately. We have authority to. Murphy cut him off. You have 10 minutes to withdraw, or we will take defensive action. The alien commander hesitated, clearly not expecting such directness. Coalition species typically negotiated extensively before making threats. Your ships are outclassed, Admiral. For your safety, I suggest. Murphy signaled to her weapons officer. The Defiant fired a single shot that passed within meters of the Coalition flagship, a demonstration of precision that surprised the aliens. That was a fraction of our capability, Murphy said. 9 minutes remaining. The Coalition ships withdrew 8 minutes later. News of the incident spread quickly, through human space. For the first time, humans had stood up to Coalition bullying and won. What didn't spread publicly was how shocked Coalition military analysts were at the advanced targeting systems the human ships had displayed. In a secure facility on Mars, Kevin Diaz met with a hooded figure who had contacted him through encrypted channels. When the figure lowered its hood, Diaz found himself face-to-face with a reptilian alien unlike any coalition species. You seek the Krith, the alien said in surprisingly good English. I am Tharnvik, scout of the Krith remnant. The coalition record said you were contained, Diaz said carefully. The alien made a sound that might have been laughter. Contained, yes. Eliminated, no. We have watched from the shadows as the coalition grew powerful, waiting for the right moment. And now? Now we see humans, another predator species rising despite coalition efforts. Perhaps it is time for predators to unite. As Diaz listened to the Krith's story, he learned how the coalition had genetically manipulated many Krith generations ago, attempting to make them more docile. Some had escaped, hiding in remote regions of space, maintaining their culture and identity. Meanwhile, the Coalition Council called an emergency session about the human problem. Humans had intercepted the communications and knew what was coming. New restrictions, new limitations on their expansion and development. In her office on Earth, Admiral Murphy reviewed the latest intelligence reports and prepared for conflict. We won't strike first, she told her staff, but we will be ready if they do. Across human space, ships moved into defensive positions. Hidden factories increased production of advanced weapon systems, and deep in secured communications networks, messages were exchanged with the newly discovered Krith remnant. The predators of the galaxy were beginning to unite. 50 years had passed since humanity first stepped onto the galactic stage. Earth had changed in ways few could have imagined. The once blue planet now sparkled with the lights of megacities and orbital stations. 12 official colony worlds thrived under the Earth flag, while dozens more existed in secret beyond coalition monitoring. President Eric Foster stood at the window of his office, looking out at the rebuilt Washington, D.C. skyline. The coalition embassy still stood tall among the buildings, but no longer dominated the view as it once had. His secretary's voice came through the intercom. Sir, General Rodriguez and Dr. Williams have arrived. Foster turned as they entered. General Maria Rodriguez wore her military uniform with quiet pride. Dr. Ben Williams looked disheveled, as scientists often did when pulled from their labs. The coalition splinter group attacked New Hope Colony an hour ago, Rodriguez reported, without preamble. 3 ships, advanced weapons. They bypassed our outer defenses. Foster frowned. Casualties? Minimal. The colony's shield system activated in time. Rodriguez's expression showed grim satisfaction, and our response was effective. You deployed the Guardians? Foster asked. Rodriguez nodded. First combat test. They performed beyond expectations. Dr. Williams stepped forward, pulling up a holographic display from his tablet. It showed soldiers in advanced armor moving with incredible speed and precision. The enhanced defense units worked perfectly, Williams said. 20 operators against over 100 coalition ground forces. The battle lasted less than 15 minutes. Foster watched the footage with mixed emotions. The Guardians were the result of decades of research. Human soldiers with integrated biotechnology that enhanced their natural abilities. Stronger, faster, with heightened senses and reaction times. Not genetic modification, which humans had firmly rejected after learning about the Krith, but technological enhancement that worked with human biology. The coalition will claim we violated technology restrictions, Foster said. They violated our sovereignty, Rodriguez countered. This attack wasn't random. Intelligence suggests it was orchestrated by Zith Kal, the coalition security director, who's been pushing for stronger action against us for years. We have proof? Rodriguez nodded. Enough to make a case. More importantly, we have evidence that some coalition leadership approved the attack as a test of our defenses. Foster's jaw tightened. For decades, humanity had played by the coalition's rules, at least openly. They had endured restrictions, condescension, and thinly veiled threats, all while quietly building their strength. It's time, he said finally. Implement Independence Protocol. Rodriguez and Williams exchanged glances. They had prepared for this day, but never knew when it would come. Within hours, human ships across the galaxy activated previously hidden weapons and defensive systems. Strategic locations received reinforcements from Earth's now substantial fleet. And in coalition space, human diplomats delivered a simple message. Earth and its colonies would no longer recognize coalition authority over human affairs. On the coalition homeworld, Zith Kal received the news with outward rage, but inner satisfaction. For years he had warned the Council about the human threat. Now they would have to listen. The humans have overreached, he told the emergency council session. They reveal themselves as the barbarians we always suspected them to be. An elder, Selnar, raised a slender hand. Yet our own forces attacked their colony first, without council authorization. A necessary security operation, Zith Kal insisted. And look how they responded, with military technology far beyond what they should possess. Perhaps we should seek dialogue, suggested another council member. Humans have always responded to diplomatic. Dialogue is finished, Zith Kal interrupted. We must contain this predator species before they threaten galactic peace, just as we did with the Krith. The council chambers erupted in debate. Not all coalition species agreed on how to handle the human situation. Some feared conflict, others saw humans as valuable trading partners, and a few had even developed genuine respect for the younger species. Meanwhile, General Rodriguez oversaw the deployment of Earth's defensive network. Hidden satellites emerged from stealth mode around every human world. Advanced shield systems, previously disguised as atmospheric regulators, activated on colony planets. Status report, she demanded from her command center beneath the Rocky Mountains. All systems online, her staff replied. The coalition is mobilizing ships near Arcturus and Tau Ceti. Our forces are in position to respond if needed. Rodriguez studied the tactical display. Decades of preparation were now being put to the test. Human military doctrine had evolved specifically to counter coalition advantages. Where the aliens had superior technology, humans had developed unconventional tactics. Where they had numbers, humans had precision and unpredictability. In his laboratory on Luna, Dr. Williams monitored the performance of the Guardians on New Hope Colony. The enhanced soldiers had suffered no casualties and were now helping to secure the planet. Coalition prisoners seemed shocked by the humans' capabilities. They never believed we could advance this quickly, Williams told his assistant. They thought their technology restrictions would keep us dependent for centuries. What they didn't understand, the assistant replied, was that restrictions just made us more creative. Williams nodded. Human ingenuity had found ways around every barrier the Coalition erected. When denied access to advanced power sources, Earth scientists had developed alternatives. When restricted from certain weapons technology, they had created different but equally effective systems. On Mars, Kevin Diaz met again with Tharnvik of the Krith remnant. What had begun as cautious contact had evolved into a full alliance. Krith technology, developed in secret over centuries, complemented human innovations. Together they had created defensive systems that the Coalition couldn't easily counter. "My people are ready," Tharnvik said. "Our hidden fleets will support human positions if the Coalition attacks." Diaz nodded. "The President will announce our alliance publicly tomorrow. It's time the galaxy knew that predator species can work together." As news of human independence spread, other species began to reconsider their positions. Several Coalition members with grievances of their own watched carefully. If humans successfully defied the Coalition, perhaps they too could demand better treatment. In Earth orbit, President Foster prepared to address the human worlds. His speech would declare human independence from Coalition restrictions, while still expressing desire for peaceful relations. It would reveal the long-hidden strength of humanity without issuing threats. As Foster reviewed the final text, reports came in of Coalition fleets taking positions near human space in a show of force. The Coalition Council, pushed by hardliners, like Zithkal, had authorized military action if humans didn't return to protected status. Foster added one final paragraph to his speech. The words were simple, but carried the weight of humanity's resolve. "We came in peace. We still desire peace, but we will not be subjugated. The stars belong to all sentient beings, not just those who discovered interstellar travel first. If forced to defend ourselves, we will do so with all the strength and determination that has carried humanity through countless challenges. The galaxy must learn that predators need not be enemies, but we will never again be prey." The Coalition attack came without warning. 100 ships appeared near Earth, weapons charged. They expected to find a planet with basic defenses, still dependent on Coalition technology. What they found instead shocked them. A shield unlike anything they had ever seen enveloped the entire planet. Advanced defense platforms emerged from hidden positions, and a human fleet, far larger and more powerful than officially reported, moved to intercept. Fleet Admiral Ryan Mitchell stood on the bridge of the flagship Freedom, watching the Coalition forces with calm eyes. For 30 years, he had trained for this moment. "They've launched the first wave," his tactical officer reported. 500 attack drones approaching." Mitchell nodded. "Activate countermeasures. Let them see what humans can really do." Across Earth's orbital space, hidden defense systems came online. Directed energy weapons tracked the incoming drones with precision impossible by Coalition standards. Within minutes, the attack had been neutralized without a single human casualty. The Coalition commander's voice came through on the communication channel, filled with shock. "This is impossible. Your technology level cannot. Your intelligence is outdated," Mitchell replied calmly. "We've been preparing for this day for decades. Stand down your forces, or we will be forced to respond." On the Coalition homeworld, the Council watched in disbelief as live feeds showed human defenses far beyond what should have been possible. "How did they advance so quickly?" one Council member asked. "We restricted their access to our technology." Zithkal, who had pushed for the attack, had no answer. His intelligence had suggested humans were still vulnerable, still dependent on Coalition guidance. The evidence before them told a different story. The Coalition fleet commander, ignoring Mitchell's warning, ordered a second attack wave. This time, human ships moved to engage. They displayed maneuvers that seemed reckless by Coalition standards, flying closer than safety protocols would allow, making course changes that subjected their crews to intense forces. Dr. Sophia Lee watched the battle from Earth's Defense Command Center. As the foremost human expert on Coalition psychology, she understood what was happening. "They're hesitating," she told President Foster. Their tactical doctrine is based on caution and minimal risk. Our ships are operating outside their expected parameters, Foster nodded. And our alliance with the Krith? The Coalition still doesn't know, Lee confirmed. Their forces are positioned to strike at the Coalition's flank if needed. The battle in Earth orbit continued for 2 more hours. Human forces suffered losses but inflicted far greater damage on the Coalition fleet. Finally, the alien commander ordered a retreat. Mitchell didn't pursue. Let them go, he ordered his captains. This was never about destroying them. It was about showing our strength. As the Coalition ships limped away, a message was broadcast across all frequencies in multiple languages. It was President Foster, addressing not just Earth but the entire galaxy. Today the Coalition learned that humanity will not be subjugated, he said. We have never sought conflict, but neither will we accept the role of an inferior species to be controlled and managed. From this day forward, humanity stands as an independent power in the galaxy. The message continued, revealing everything: the Coalition's history of containing predator species, the genetic manipulation of the Krith, the decades of restriction placed on human development. In Coalition space, the transmission caused immediate turmoil. Many species had never known this history, never understood why certain technologies were kept from humans. Some began to question what other secrets their leadership had kept. On a secure channel, Agent Chris Baker finally made contact from his deep cover position within the Coalition bureaucracy. For 15 years, he had worked his way into a trusted, advisory role, carefully gathering intelligence while influencing policies from within. The Coalition leadership is in chaos, he reported. Some factions are calling for all-out war. Others want to negotiate. The revelations about the Krith manipulation have caused several member species to demand investigations. Dr. Lee nodded. This was exactly what they had predicted. And the evidence we provided? Being verified independently, Baker confirmed. Those records you found in the ancient archive were authentic. The Coalition has been manipulating developing species for thousands of years, guiding evolution toward their preferred model of civilization. 3 days after the Battle of Earth, a Coalition diplomatic vessel approached under a flag of truce. It carried not just representatives of the original 7 species, but also delegates from several newer members who had demanded to be included. The meeting took place on neutral ground, an orbital station positioned between Earth and Mars. President Foster, Admiral Mitchell, and Dr. Lee represented humanity. Tharnvik attended for the Krith. The Coalition's lead negotiator and Elder Zelnar spoke first. What you have done is unprecedented. No species has ever broken free of Coalition guidance. Perhaps it was time someone did, Foster replied. Your model of civilization isn't the only valid one. You revealed our deepest secrets to the galaxy, the Zelnar said. Many worlds are now questioning our leadership. Dr. Lee stepped forward. Those secrets needed to be exposed. Your Coalition claims to value diversity, yet you've been systematically suppressing species that don't fit your evolutionary template. The discussions continued for days. Coalition hardliners like Zith Kal had been removed from power. New voices, more open to change, were emerging. Several Coalition members had already broken away, forming separate alliances with humanity or declaring independence themselves. The galaxy was transforming. The old power structure, built on the dominance of prey species and the suppression of predators, was collapsing. In its place, something new was emerging, a more balanced system that recognized the value of different evolutionary paths. 1 month after the battle, representatives from 20 species gathered on Earth to sign the Evolutionary Diversity Accord. It guaranteed rights to all sentient beings regardless of their evolutionary heritage. It established protocols for technological sharing without restriction. And most importantly, it created a new galactic council where all species, predator and prey alike, would have equal voices. As the ceremony concluded, Admiral Mitchell stood, with Dr. Lee watching as human and alien delegates mingled. Did you ever imagine this outcome when you were studying Coalition psychology? He asked her. Lee shook her head. I knew we could force them to accept us as equals. I never imagined we would transform the entire galactic order. That's what makes humans different, Mitchell said. We don't just adapt to the universe as it is, we reshape it into what it could be. In the years that followed, humanity continued to expand, no longer bound by coalition restrictions. The alliance with the Krith strengthened as both species found they complemented each other well. Other predator species, long hidden or suppressed, emerged to take their places in the new galactic community. Earth became known not as a conquering power but as a balancing force, strong enough to defend itself but committed to creating a galaxy where all evolutionary paths were respected. Humanity had indeed become an apex predator, not through domination but through transformation. As Dr. Lee would later write in her famous memoir, "We didn't conquer the galaxy, we transformed it. And, in doing so, we fulfilled the true potential of what it means to be human."